Now I am going to dictate KGT Commerce Group Examination January 2017 Shorthand English Higher Grade Model Paper. Okay, ready? Start. It gives me great pleasure to inaugurate this seminar on one of the most illustrious rulers that India has ever seen. I deliberately refer to Rajaraja the Great as an Indian ruler in contrast with the traditional historical reference to him as a ruler of South India. Western scholars had only a smattering knowledge of a few dynasties that ruled over India and hence presented only an anthology of these as the history of India. This led to an overemphasis of the regional lines and the divisive rather than the cohesive aspects of Indian unity. It is my desire that ideological research institutes such as yours should give a new direction to the study of history, bringing into focus the underlying unity of this great country. It is a culture which prescribes that every pilgrim to Varanasi should consider his pilgrimage incomplete unless he takes a pot of water from the Gangas to Rameswaram to do Abhisheka to Ramalinga Swami and takes a handful of sea sand from Rameswaram and puts in waters of the Gangas in Varanasi. Though we know from inscriptions that Rajaraja was a great warrior, a great administrator and a great patron of art and learning, there is much to be done by way of historical research to know the full amplitude of his reign. But from the inscriptions of the 29th regional year of Rajaraja, we found that his many was so strong that it destroyed the ships of Kondalur Salai. His army was so strong that it was victorious in the great battles. Rajaraja's empire extended up to Tumba Andhra, and Andhra Desh was in feudatory alliance with him. He had several titles which reflects his achievements. It should be a matter of interest to scholars doing research on Rajaraja to find out whether his conquests were motivated by the overreaching ambition of an aggressor or whether in view of the state of confusion and tendencies which that part of the country, South Tungabhadra, witnessed during the 9th century. He found it necessary to introduce a stability and security so that the drooping flower of culture could get a new life and blossom forth. Looking at the great achievements of Rajaraja in the field of administration and in the encouragement he gave to sculpture, art and literature, would it be far wrong to take a view that he was inspired to usher in a golden age just as Vikramaditya of the Gupta dynasty and Krishnadevaraya of the Vijayanagar kingdom brought in a period of peace, glory and development? We learn from the inscriptions that he did not leave his conquered country to be administered by willing vassals proving tyrants to their people. He took great care to bring in all the territory under one single administration. A land survey conducted in 1000 AD and the introduction of local self-government throughout his domination are clear indications of his benevolent rule bent upon bringing prosperity and stability to the people. In 1012 AD, he brought in Rajendra as the Yuvaraja, who was asked to coordinate the energies of several princes for a proper system of administration of his domain. Historians have been puzzled by the overlapping dates of the Chola dynasty, particularly between Rajaraja and Rajendra. Such as overlapping has perhaps occurred because Rajendra as the Yuvaraja took part in administration along with his father Rajaraja. Maybe in this seminar you will be discussing the distinct roles of both the father and the son. As one coming from the Tanjavur district, I cannot but refer to the great Brihadeshwara temple, also known as Rajarajeshwara temple, the most perfect example of sculpture and architecture for attention with the wonders of the world. From the inscriptions on the Tanjavur temple, we come to know of the construction of a temple for Vishnu which enjoyed a special patronage of his sister. All that I have stated is, as you all aware, gathered from his inscriptions. There has been no other authentic description of his rule yet disclosed. There is not even an authentic statue or a painting that has come down to us, so much so one is not sure of authenticity of the Rajaraja's statue erected by the Tamil Nadu government. There is a great scope for research to fill in the gaps in historical information about the reign of this great Chola king and the levels of cultural, intellectual and economic development during his reign. I am certain that this seminar will be throwing light on the vast dark spaces in the history of not only Rajaraja but also of other kings of the later Chola dynasty. A great ruler like Rajaraja, whose fame was recognized by the kings of Andhra Pradesh, would not have remained unknown in the other parts of the country beyond the Vidyas. An integrated study of the historical events of the whole Bharatavarsha during the reigns of later Cholas would immensely benefit those who seek to know the great achievements of our ancestors and also would give a new direction. Stop.